GFF and Friends, the podcast for the holiday season. A doobie-doo, a dippity-dop. I don't know the words, zooba-dooba-dip-bop.
The spirit is here, though.
Coming down the chimney now. Hi, I'm your host, Gay Fat Friend, a.k.a. Todd. And joining me, as always, back to the grind, as usual, is my teeny tiny, adorable little husband, Rob.
Hello, how's it going?
Good, how are you, babe?
Good, I'm tired.
I know, I am very tired too because we are in my nap window. We are recording this way out of schedule.
Yeah.
What is it, Monday night? We're recording it Monday night at 5 o'clock. Normally it's like a Sunday at 1 p.m. thing, but now here we are. Time just got away from us.
Yeah.
We were going to do it late last night, and then we're like, you know what, let's just push it one more day. One day more. This is a musical episode. Everything will be sung.
That is, please no.
What's your problem with musicals, Rob?
I just don't need everything to be one.
Great. But yeah, we're both really exhausted. For me, this is my literal busiest time of year. It's the most work I do for content, but then also just everyday stuff like putting up the Christmas tree. That's a lot of work.
Christmas?
Decorating for decorating for the fall holidays, decorating for the Christmas holidays.
Yeah. Well, never even mind striking the fall to put up winter, but like also it is a thing where, you know, as an adult you realize how much work goes into Christmas or into making the holidays happen around the home, and just even buying gifts and just, you know, doing all the stuff. It's a lot. It's a lot of pressure, and you know, and most people don't start until the day after Thanksgiving, and all of a sudden you've got like, you know, 3.5 weeks to kind of get all your shit figured out.
Yeah. Plus, coming off of just a busy week of my first colonoscopy, which was a lot of work.
That was quite an adventure for the doctor and you.
We made it through. Everything's okay. I got all my test results back. 0 polyps, no cancer cells. Everything's good to go down my esophagus and up my other esophagus.
South mouth.
My south mouth. But yeah, everything's clean. I'm good to go there. I made it through. The prep was the worst part. Well, kind of.
I was like, I feel like that's not the case for you.
I think because the prep was so long, you know, over 24 hours, that was torture. Plus, it's also disgusting to drink all that stuff. But then during my procedure, I woke up halfway through while the doctor was fully inside me, and it was the most pain I've ever felt in my life. So there's that.
Yeah, I think that's probably worse than the prep.
Yeah, it's kind of an even tie. The prep was long and slow and painful, and the waking up from anesthesia during my procedure was very fast. I think they got me back out in like 60 seconds, but a minute of your insides being shredded.
Also, I think there's a scary factor there. Like, not just pain, they're scary.
Yeah, I mean, I woke up moaning, like my moans woke me up because it was so painful, you know, that kind of thing. Like I didn't like wake up and then go, oh my God, I'm in pain. I woke up moaning, and they were very nice. They were like, the anesthesiologist is coming back. We're so sorry. Just hold on just a couple more minutes. Everything's going to be okay. Like the nurse was holding my hand. They were like patting my back. Everything was fine. Everyone was very professional and kind, but it was very painful and terrifying for 60 seconds. Highly do not recommend. But you know what? Get a colonoscopy. You got to know. You got to have those answers, especially if it runs in your family. But because they didn't find anything, I'm good for a decade. I don't ever have to get one ever again.
That story never gets any better. Every single time I've heard it, it's awful every single time. And mostly because I'm like mad that it happened to you.
Yeah.
But then also just the details are not fun.
Well, it's funny. There's like a different nurse and professional every step of the way when you get these things done. And so my wake up nurse, my nurse that was in charge of me waking up in the bed, she was like, okay, I brought your clothes in. You can go ahead and get dressed when you're ready. Is everything okay? And I was like, no, 10 out of 10, don't recommend. She just goes, aw. Like, I'm sure they're trained in that. Also, I did find out after it happened, and I posted about it everywhere. This happens quite frequently. Everyone has a wake-up story during their colonoscopy. And I'm like, what the F, you guys? Why didn't you tell me that going in? And so many people are like, we wanted to protect your anxiety, so we didn't tell you. But yeah, it happens a lot. I was like, great, cool. Well, now I know. Joke's on me.
Well, I mean, at least, I don't know. I mean, is it better to wake up and be like, I was prepared for this? This is awful? Or like,
Well,
to feel like an
apparently,
exception. I don't even know.
You have like an interview with your anesthesiologist when you're laying in bed before they go into the room and put you under. The same thing happened when I had my septoplasty. You meet with your anesthesiologist, and I had a very good, long meeting. My anesthesiologist felt like she was a butch les. I know she was a lesbian, but she felt like a butch les, very kind, very warm, very funny. We joked back and forth. And I told her what happened with my last surgery, how it like really affected my muscles. And she's like, oh, that's this chemical. I'm not using that today. I'm only using propofol and a little bit of fentanyl and all this stuff. And from what I've been told is that like you're supposed to emphasize things to your anesthesiologist when they have a possibility of happening. And so I wish I would have known, so I could have been like, please make sure I don't wake up, because she wasn't in the room. Like they do 50 a day. Like
That's crazy. Well,
in this one facility.
While I was in the waiting room, it was just like people just kept coming in and kept getting picked up. It was just like a factory.
Yeah. And we were only there for an hour?
If that. Yeah, it was pretty short.
It's a high turnover, and there's several doctors that do these procedures, but they all kind of share the same staff and the same surgery center and stuff. So my anesthesiologist was out of the room, I guess working with somebody else, and I remember her running in like it was ER, and she ran in back to her little station. And after like 5 seconds, I was back out again. But yeah, I would have liked to have known that I needed to emphasize, don't let me wake up. But now we know. And then, so that was Tuesday. And then Thursday was Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
And our Thanksgiving is really easy, but it's still a lot of work.
Yeah, no, I was like, seriously, I feel like we took all the stress out of it, but like there's just inherent pressure.
Yeah. We got our pre-made turkey from Whole Foods on Wednesday. Popped it in the oven for like an hour and a half on Thursday, but that's all you have to do. You just take it out of its plastic and pop it in the oven. And then we made all of our delicious sides: mashed potatoes, sweet potatoes, stuffing, green bean casserole, a can of cranberry sauce, jellied, not chunky. I baked an apple pie.
Crescent rolls.
Oh yeah, Rob rolled out the crescent rolls.
Yeah, gravy.
He's bread man. Oh yeah, gravy. We did our Williams Sonoma gravy.
Yeah, Thanksgiving.
Yeah. But it's, first of all, we have the tiniest kitchen. So we have to do like the tiny kitchen shuffle. And then putting that all together. And then finding place, like once it's out of the oven and ready to serve, finding a place for it to dish it up.
Well, and I would say it's not Thanksgiving until somebody some type A in the kitchen pushes me out of it. So that happens every year without fail. Someone will shoo me out of the kitchen.
Well, I didn't so much shoo you out of the kitchen as Ruby would not get out from underfoot.
We are a package deal.
Apparently. But Ruby wouldn't get out from underneath my feet. And so I told her to go lay down.
I don't do anything without,
also took that.
I don't do anything without my assistant.
Me yelling at Rob to go lay down.
Well, it's because you dismissed my assistant, and I'm not going to work without her.
No, I get it. She's integral to a lot of things getting done in this house.
And you will not disrespect the staff.
I'm sorry, but I didn't want to step on her or pour a boiling hot pot of gravy on her head.
Well, yeah. But, I could have kept her out of the way when that happened.
You little people that are closer to the ground, you don't realize what we tall people have to go through because we don't see you. You're in our blind spot. It's not, it's OSHA. Okay. This is OSHA. This is safety.
Okay.
Oh, speaking of food, the other thing was, I didn't eat for over 24 hours and I was very cleaned out for my colonoscopy, but it's just very basic anesthesia. So once you're awake, you can just eat whatever you want. You don't have to ease back into it. So we went to Wingstop and we got the best ranch.
You got so much of it.
We got the best fast food ranch on the planet. I
think you knew that you were going to just have other things you could eat it with.
Yeah, but also I ordered a large, which I guess they were out of that container, so they gave me a ton of little containers.
Okay.
Which was actually worked out in the long run because then every day since then I had ranch. I think I had 5 containers.
Yeah, I was like, you've been just sort of doling it out.
2-ounce cups.
I thought you ordered 5 sides of ranch.
I ordered a large side of ranch, which is usually a bucket, but I guess they were out of that, so they just gave me a ton of little ones. So yeah, I was able to enjoy some delicious chicken strips and fries and the world's best fast food ranch. It really is so good. But yeah, I feel bad. We only did leftovers on Friday for Thanksgiving. Nothing else, it didn't seem good.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know. Yeah, it was usually I'm like, I can eat Thanksgiving every day for a week afterwards. But after Friday, I was like, I don't want any of this food anymore.
Like, is that just because, I don't know, is it like Thanksgiving was really close to the end of the month? Is it that we were already in December? Like, just next?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if it was that or if it's just like, is this pandemic brain now? Like that 4 years later, we're like, well, Thanksgiving's over. Just move on. Like, it's
I don't
over.
know. Also, I'm getting really sick, and this isn't like a read on you.
Oh, goody.
Just getting really sick of cooking for myself all the time. You know, like if I want something, I have to make it. And I don't know. I just want like an old lady. That's why I'm excited for Christmas. Your mom is coming to town.
Yeah.
Your mom will make food for us that I don't have to do any part of, because I'm starting to lose my passion for food via having to make it myself, which is a weird thing. It's like when I worked at the chocolate factory in high school. I didn't like chocolate anymore for a time. It came back. But yeah, just having to make every single meal and like put all the work and go grocery shopping and do all the work for it. It's just like, I don't want this food anymore.
I think you just described what most people call, like, you know, what the millennials say and everyone cringes as adulting.
Yeah.
I think you've just identified the daily grind, and it sucks. Even just figure out what you want to eat is a pain in the ass, and then having to make it and then do dishes.
Yeah.
And you do that multiple times a day. That's why I just don't eat breakfast ever. Like, let's just take it out of the equation.
Like, I would love to just wake up to like the smell of coffee and bacon and scrambled eggs. I could definitely eat that, but I'm not making it. It's too much work. And it's not even that much work. It's just so annoying. And I just like don't want to do it anymore. And so I think because I had to do so much work for Thanksgiving, I'm just like, meh. I do need to still like process the turkey off the carcass because we use that meat for Red Lobster chicken casseroles. Which we had like 3 last year, like 3 casseroles worth of turkey. So I need to pick the bird apart. But other than that, I feel bad. We're going to like the mashed potatoes and stuffing and stuff. It's no good anymore.
Well, frankly, a lot of the sides, we actually make such a reasonable amount of them for the most part that like, even, you know, like, well, we each had like, I think you had one more round of stuffing than I did as for leftovers, and then it was gone. You know, it's like, so a lot of stuff was like,
finish the stuffing.
Yeah, it was like 2.5 servings, done.
Yeah.
So like a lot of stuff's like that. And so it's like once you start losing pieces of the Thanksgiving meal, how appealing is this leftovers that is, you know, 3/4 missing the stuff you want, you know, or whatever. So like it's understandable. It's fine. But we don't make a ton anyway. That's the thing. It's like I think we've learned how much to make for 2 people.
Yeah. And when it comes to Thanksgiving sides, you can't make them for 2 people. Like you can't just make half a green bean casserole. You have to make the whole thing.
And I feel like even then, though, we've kind of learned there's a certain amount of holiday food waste that happens. But you know, it's not. I don't know. I feel like it's still not like we made food for an army. Well,
and normally I tend to finish it all. I feel like I usually get through most of it. Like I said, we finished the stuffing. It feels sacrilegious that I have to throw out green bean casserole.
You'll make another.
True. There's more green bean casserole on the horizon.
You literally bought enough cans of green beans and the soup to make additional casseroles right now.
1, yes.
So we're okay.
And I also had to throw away a can of soup from the pantry that expired in 2022.
So yeah, I think we'll be okay.
Yeah. See, I did that thing of where I bought in bulk and then I forgot it. I had it. Which is, I don't know if that's a millennial thing or like, you know, a gay thing or a person with no kids thing. But we tend to do this thing where we have things, but they're so hidden somewhere in a closet or something. We're like, just buy another one real fast so we can use it.
I feel like that's like suburban living.
Well, burpee, what's new?
Excuse me. I don't know. I'm like gassy as well.
I mean, you are drinking
I'm drinking soda. Yeah. There's that.
What's new in Rob Town?
Not much. I'm trying to think. What has happened since I was last here? I'm trying to oh wow, I'm sure. Have we watched any movies or anything?
You've read a million books.
Well, I did finish reading. No, I only finished reading one, but it was many a story. I finished reading Stephen King's Skeleton Crew, which I had never read before.
When did that come out?
1980, either 1984 or 1987.
I didn't realize it was that old.
Oh yeah. It's an oldie.
Was that his first short story collection?
No, at that point he'd already done, I believe, Night Shift and possibly different seasons. So he had already like had some stuff out. I mean, Different Seasons is only 4, but Night Shift is like it's an equal amount. It's like 16 stories. But yeah, Skeleton Crew. Its most famous contribution to pop culture at this point is probably The Mist.
We watched The Mist.
Yeah, which is the longest part of it. So read that. We watched the movie, which I hadn't seen since like it first came out.
And the film has such a dark ending.
Oh yeah, which is fine. That is an original contribution to the film, which is super fun.
From that director, not from Stephen
from Frank
King.
Darabont. Like he changed the ending for his movie, also, coming up in February or March is The Monkey from director Osgood Perkins, who did Longlegs. He'll be doing The Monkey, which I have not the dance, although that would be fun. But it's about like a monkey with the symbol, which is on the cover of most of the Skeleton Crew.
I'm very
depictions.
excited about that. He's a good director.
Yeah, and that's actually why I read that book, is because I wanted to read that before the movie comes out. And so, did that. And now I'm on to my next piece of super, super sunny literature, 1984, which I'm like really upset that I'd never read before. And it is just irritating how much it is outlined, so much of a playbook that everybody is just completely just playing along to, not even realizing. Like Orwell was darkly prophetic.
I feel like you are just torturing yourself with reading about all this stuff that's actually happening in real life. But also, it's a textbook you can study and get ready for.
It is a thing that, like, if you skip to the end, you might learn something. I hate to be reading it like the Almanac in Back to the Future Part 2, but, like...
You know what's coming.
I mean, it's helpful.
At least you're prepared.
It's helpful to get an understanding of the ways in which some of these sort of mind games are played.
Yeah.
Reading that, and then it was either that or The Handmaid's Tale, and The Handmaid's Tale, I think actually would probably maybe just snap my Kindle in half. I don't think I can do it right now.
Sunshiny, bright books. Yeah. Very excited, very happy.
I'm trying to expand my mind, but unfortunately, it's making my mind very just wrinkled and pissy. It's just not good. But like,
you're getting through it.
No, it's good. I'm yes,
nerd.
We're getting through it.
I meant to finish my busiest time of year. If you're not familiar, if you don't know me from TikTok at all, which would be weird. I feel like everyone here is from TikTok, but if you don't know me from TikTok, December, I open a bunch of advent calendars every day for the whole month. And it's kind of a thing I've gotten known for. This is the 4th year I'm doing it.
And he does it the right way, like one day
per calendar. I don't open the whole calendar on the day.
Yeah.
So this is my busy season because it's a lot of work, organizing it, filming it, editing it, posting it, responding to comments. Like TikTok kind of turns into an even more full-time job than also, like I said, trying to live life, going to the grocery store, making other content. Cause like, I don't want to just post advent calendars every day. So I'm also still trying to make a second video every day, or maybe not every day, but trying to make as much regular content as I can too. Plus, we just got a brand new Christmas tree and she's beautiful, but now I've got to dig out all the Christmas decorations so I can load her up. Yeah.
Which, I mean, you could have put the Mario ornaments on there.
I mean, I need the hooks. We don't have any hooks.
Oh, right now it's all just relying on ribbons, isn't it?
I have 2 Taylor Swift ornaments on there and a Santa Claus ornament that we just bought because they have long strings on them. But yeah, I got to get the hooks out of the Christmas box because you can't put ornaments up without hooks.
Gotcha.
But now that we have this beautiful new tree, I got to fill it up. But also, your mom's coming, so I want to make the house extra cozy, which I know your mom wouldn't care. But
she'll appreciate it, though. Like, she wouldn't care if you didn't. But the fact that you are, she will appreciate.
Yeah. Plus, I already decorate the shit out of every holiday anyway. But this year, it's going to be like full on. Because we haven't spent a holiday with family in over 4 years. Yeah. So this is going to be very exciting to like wake up on a holiday with a parent. Since when does that happen?
Right? Should I make a point to like wake her up crazy early? No. To just like, Mom, presents, let's go. Right? Like, let's just like bring her right back to when I was 6.
Just run in and jump on the bed and start bouncing on the bed. Yeah. Get up. It's Christmas.
Most likely to do that is probably Ruby, who will want to look out the window to see if there's a squirrel in the backyard.
Right. That's puppy TV.
Yeah. And so she would likely just jump across the bed, waking Mom.
Well, I mean, I grew up in a torturous home where we had to wait till after breakfast to open presents.
Okay, like that's just not fair. That's mean.
Yeah.
My folks were like, we have to have our coffee. And so that was why, like, I knew how to make their coffee. So I could start their coffee maker.
Get it done faster.
Yeah. Or you have them preload it the night before, you start it. But, like, I knew exactly how to make my mom's coffee from probably, I'm assuming, like, I think like 6 years old and on. Like, I knew how to operate the coffee maker, and I knew how many beans go in the grinder. And we ground our own beans. Like, I was on it.
Wow. In the 80s and 90s, you ground your own beans?
Seriously, my mom and my stepdad were fancy. Like, they kept their beans in the freezer, I think.
Oh, our neighbors did that with just all their coffee. It was pre-ground, but
yeah.
I remember that, and batteries. Our neighbors kept all their batteries in the fridge too.
So we were not a batteries in the fridge family for some reason. We were a coffee bean. But yeah, so anyway, like, that's cruel though to make the kids wait that long.
Mm-hmm. Although, I mean, even into adulthood, like, I remember I was in college. My brother was like kind of fresh out of college. And it was just the two of us. My oldest brother was gone, but it was just the two of us. And we woke up and it was kind of one of the last years we did like full just our family presents on Christmas morning. And Scott and I were like joking around and kind of saying like, when can we open presents? And my mom was like making breakfast, actively making breakfast. And we were kind of giving her shit and messing with each other. And then finally my mom like stormed into the living room and she was like, you're gonna open your goddamn presents after goddamn breakfast. Now get in here. Like, it was just very much like, all right.
I can imagine that happening.
Yeah. It's not a holiday morning without getting a couple goddams thrown at your face. But I'm excited. It's going to be a very fun December, very fun Christmas season. And yeah, we just got to get out of the decor, which is like the hardest part. I was talking to my best friend Kendra today. You know, getting it out of the boxes, getting out of the
former
attic.
Podcast host?
Yeah, friend of the pod, guest of the pod. Getting it out of storage, getting it out of under the stairs, getting out of the garage. Like, that's the hardest part. So I just got to like
lug it.
Yeah. Get some meth and go to town. We'll get it all done in an afternoon.
Are you trying to get this thing demonetized when we weren't monetized in the first place?
Right. How can you take nothing from nothing?
Right. What are they going to do? Pay us?
But speaking of meth, I think it's time to move on to our final segment, which is What's Your Order? What's Your Order?
We're just going to let everybody figure out that segue for themselves, I guess.
Right. The segment where I have very popular food ideas, side dishes, holidays, locations. Used to be restaurants, but we're out of restaurants. And we pick one out and we say what our order is. So,
let me at it.
Rob, it's your turn. We're also using our handbook for the recently deceased popcorn tin from Beetlejuice. So, Rob. Today's What's Your Order is...
Steak.
Ooh.
Steak.
Beef. It's what's for dinner.
Yeah, I've got beef.
Yeah. I love, like, we eat a lot of steak.
We do.
Which, not as much as I did growing up. I mean, I grew up on a farm in Missouri in the 80s and 90s. We probably had steak or some form of ground beef like 4 nights a week.
I grew up in a largely a pork household, like in my preteen years. Lots of, I guess it was probably pork tenderloin pre-cut into like chops.
Yeah.
So it was lot of just pork steaks. Really, I mean, is what they really kind of were.
My family also eats a lot of pork, and did, especially back in the day when they used to buy a whole animal and have it processed and put in the freezer, which they also did with cows. So like back in the day, I mean, you still do it. People just still do it all the time. But you buy a whole animal and then you have it processed into various things that you can freeze. So you just go down to your freezer and get some hunk of protein.
It would be interesting to sort of see backwards all of the cuts of beef that we buy reassembled into an animal. It's like the idea of like, instead of just buying an animal,
like
and you get
puzzle?
all the pieces. Because like, you know, if you're a family, you buy a cow, you get all the pieces. But yeah, what pieces could you make? Or what could you make out of the pieces that we buy? It'd be the weirdest monster.
You're so weird.
What, you don't think about that?
No.
Okay,
Reverse engineering steak cuts?
Yeah.
That's why I love you. You creep.
Someone's got to write that book.
You're so weird. Anyway, yeah, so for the longest time, the only steak I ever got was a ribeye because I love a fatty cut of beef. I think they have the best flavor, the best texture. I never really got into fillets until like recently because of your family. Your family loves
I love a fillet.
And it is like a delicious texture. It's so easy to eat.
Well, filet was what got me into steak because, he was usually a smaller cut.
Yeah.
And also, like, there's just not a lot of mayhem going on there. It's just very good meat.
Yeah. And fillets are delicious, but it's also a texture thing with me that sometimes I'm like, I don't want that texture. It can be a little mush, like I need like a little chew to it.
No, yeah. They can be too tender, which like I still want it to be beef. I'm not trying for it to be fully like butter necessarily. Although that is a special category unto itself.
Yeah. But. Well, I should say my favorite, and if it's available, I will get it at a restaurant, is prime rib. But that's like, that was big in the 80s. I feel like obviously it was like big in like the 60s and 70s. But in my time, you could usually get prime rib everywhere, especially in the Midwest. But now, I mean, it takes so much to cook it, and you usually have to go to a specialty restaurant to get prime rib. And it's really hard to find. Like, I never see it on menus. I mean, we're in the Pacific Northwest, so that might just be an up here thing.
And I've actually never cared for prime rib. Like, I mean,
it's fatty, it's juicy, it's usually served with au jus.
At Lowry's, there's a whole lot of like ceremony to it that I didn't appreciate, but also just I usually find that prime rib's not hot enough when it comes to me.
It does cool off fast.
It's usually fairly lukewarm, and honestly, like it is kind of tender and mush to the point where like every bite I'm chewing on it for so long. Like
that's not a thing.
Like for me, it's like I feel like every bite is like a wad of chewing gum, and so yeah, it's just like for me, it's a little too like much of a thing. I'd rather have something that's like literally charred to death than a piece of prime rib. But
my favorite steak experience is prime rib. But other than that, it was ribeyes. But having been with you, especially since we moved up here, I'd never gotten into New York strips. But they're delicious, and that's kind of what we buy now all the time.
And didn't we talk about, like, isn't a ribeye and a New York, aren't they fairly, like, neighbors or something? Or aren't they, like, just almost different cuts or something
in the
like that?
body?
Yeah.
Maybe. I don't know. I don't remember my steak judging, my meat cuts judging from FFA. I don't remember where the New York comes from.
Well, because I'm a fan of a New York, especially because I usually feel like it's, it's not super fatty, and it gives me that nice sort of meaty thing.
But it's still pretty tender.
Yeah, and they got like they usually come in a reasonable size.
Yeah. But like we never get sirloin. I don't like sirloin. I kind of hate it. It can be a little gamey. That's like the chewier cut for me. And like growing up, my mom got sirloin all the time, and she also got cube steak, which I never liked.
Well, it's like, and I feel like I never get a T-bone anymore because like now I either get the thing that's on one side of it, or the fillet, which is on the other side of it. Like it's so funny, like a T-bone. I'm like, I can choose one at this point. Which I'm curious if the thing on the other side of the T-bone is in New York. Or is that the ribeye?
It's a fillet and a ribeye.
So that's the ribeye. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So then the New York's not involved. So yeah, that's the ribeye one. Maybe.
I don't know.
I don't think it is.
But the other night we went to a very fancy steak restaurant by our house that we love, and I believe it's Brazilian, right?
Definitely of some sort of either like Latin American.
It's called Asadero in Ballard, and it is a beef restaurant. I mean, their mascot is a cow.
Oh, it's like full on steak.
But they do like fancy cuts like Wagyu and all that stuff, and I've never had like an official Wagyu before. And so when we went, it was for a special occasion, and so I was like, you know what? I'm going to officially get a Japanese Wagyu ribeye, like for the first time ever. And then it was this whole thing, which she told me when I ordered it. I was like, yeah, whatever, we'll do it. I had to cook it myself on a hot rock, and it splashed and it burned my arms, and I had to wait. And it was like I love like fondue. I love like, a ceremonial meal.
You like an interactive meal. You do.
I love Korean barbecue, but this is like your own individual hot stone set right in front of you with a raw steak, and then you got to cook it. The meat was delicious.
Oh, well, it was also like so thin and like 50-50 marbled.
It was almost all fat.
It was gorgeous.
Like I have never seen meat like this before.
Same.
And it was very thin, and it cooked instantly on the rock, and it was so flavorful and good. They
did say like each piece, you drop it on the thing, it's like 20 to 30 seconds tops, kind of like maybe flip it a little bit. Yeah, it's like you don't need to give it much.
And like I would do it again, but I kind of wanted like a cooked steak to come out of a kitchen, and I could enjoy it that way. But oh my God, it was so good. I 3 threaded about this, but I apologize to the vegetarian community. I think cows were made for us to eat. They're just so good. And the planet gave us a treasure when they gave us cows.
Right? And I want to pet them so badly, and
They're so cute.
I'm so disappointed at how unpleasant they are to pet. I just need them to have softer hair and to actually appreciate being pet, because they don't care.
Yeah, you need to find a Highland cow, a hairy coo, because those are the long-haired ones that they always do paintings of at Walmart above your bed.
But I also need a cow to give me positive feedback as I'm petting it.
Like it enjoys it.
Yes.
Yeah, hairy coo's like that.
Oh, okay.
So you get a hairy coo.
So I'm meeting the wrong, because I think the only time I've ever tried to pet cows is usually at like the fair during like a judging competition, but that's probably for other fields.
Well, also, that trend of having like a rawhide as a rug was really big in West Hollywood for a long time, and a lot of people had those like, I got a rawhide rug, and it's just like cow skin with fur on it, and it's coarse. It's not soft.
Yeah, that's like splinters from that.
Yeah. Because they're so cute. They are, I will say, like, they do like to be pet sometimes if they're, domesticated towards humans.
Yeah.
Like when I was in FFA showing sheep at the fair, all the cow people, their cows were their pets. And most people at the fair, like, they would show their cow and sell it at the auction, and then the person would just give it right back. It was more of like a fundraising thing. Like, not a lot of people keep the cows at the fair auctions.
I feel like the fantasy has been changed forever. I had no idea.
Yeah.
Not that I had much of a fantasy about that, but I'm surprised.
My other thing about steak is that I prefer medium rare to rare. Almost always. And anything above that kind of makes me angry.
So I'm a medium rare leaning medium.
Yeah.
And I literally think it's mostly just because I think the more under something is, the longer I spend chewing it. And I think it's actually like a holdover from when I had braces of just like under red
chewing
meat
was a chore.
Especially under red meat's it's a really great way to get caught on brackets and just kind of make a mess. It's like I so much of my eating habits have been forever changed. I feel like I still do like the hold and tear method that like I adopted from braces, as opposed to like a full chomp to get through something. I definitely still do the hold and tear sometimes.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I feel like there's been a lot of stuff I've been reprogrammed on that.
Same. I mean, I have so many crowns in my mouth now that like I don't even chew gum anymore. Let alone like it only takes one bone spur eating a breakfast sandwich to be like, well, forever when I eat any kind of sausage patty, I will chew very slow. So if I get a chunk of bone, God, those hurt.
Ugh. Well, I guess for anyone that listened to the last episode I was in, I am someone who does enjoy A1 steak sauce.
Oh, you love it.
So, and I'm not saying a steak has to have it. I will enjoy a steak without it. But I do enjoy just, a little bit of a dip into some A1. I'm not a douser. But like I also enjoy a good, steak sauce that comes with it, whether it be like I guess usually like a Béarnaise kind of thing, or even like a steak Oscar style where it comes with like an inch of crab meat on top of it.
I like a black and blue. I love like it's rare, but sometimes we'll be like, I need blue cheese on my steak right now.
Oh yeah, that's not for me, but I recognize anyone who likes blue cheese though. That's definitely gonna be your jam.
So good. I did work at Applebee's for quite some time, especially when I first moved to LA. That was my job when I first moved to Los Angeles. I was an Apple buddy, and I learned a lot about society working at Applebee's by how people get their steak cooked, what they eat with their steak, and how they eat their steak. You would be so surprised how many people dip their steak in ketchup, and it feels so sacrilegious.
That that feels weird to me even.
And how many people, not only do they want well done, they want it butterflied well done, which is, cutting it in half and cooking it so it's even thinner and rubberier and burnt. Just don't get a steak.
At that point, you want something crispy. You want like beef chips. You want something crispy.
I'm fully like, eat what you like and who cares what people say about it. But also like at that point, it's not a steak anymore. Just get something else.
Well, yeah. And I guess the hard part about steak, I think, is why people tend to get so judgy is that it's often very expensive.
Yeah.
But, and so I think that's probably why a lot of people are like, you're taking such an expensive cut of meat and ruining it. Well, and even like, a friend of ours is very much of the sort of mindset of like, well, if an animal gave their life for this, like, it's like they have a problem like if you order like a meat thing and you don't finish it.
Yeah.
It's kind of
that's how I am.
Yeah, it's like, an animal gave its life for this. The least you can do is kind of like not let that go to waste.
Yeah.
So like I definitely know there's a lot of baggage, I think, when it comes to the whole animal thing
For sure.
there. But yeah.
People used to get American cheese melted on their steaks. It's Wild West out there. There are just so many crazy people.
That's also crazy to me.
That's why I don't think I could ever work in like a fine dining steak restaurant. Because if someone did that, like if we were at like STK or something like a very fancy, expensive steakhouse, and someone was like, "Can I get a couple pieces of American cheese melted on that?" I would have to quit on the spot.
Yeah,
because I think I would probably pour their cocktail in their lap.
Right? They're literally just somebody just saying, "Can I please ruin this food?"
And I'm trying not to be pretentious, and I'm trying not to like yuck anybody's yum, but like do that in private.
Well,
right?
I mean,
not in front of my kids.
I hate to say it. It's just like, especially with steak being so expensive, it just feels like asking it to be cut into dino nugs kind of a thing.
Just respect it.
Yeah, it feels a little bit like you've taken the ingredient and just kind of you're denying what it is.
Yeah, punched it in the face.
Yeah.
But yeah, so those are our steak preferences. I will say we have been getting the New York strips from Costco, which is like a good deal, but they're so big, they're huge. They cut them so thick and they take forever to cook. And honestly, the flavor's not that good. So we've just been doing like a la carte. We're like, you want to do steak tonight? Sure. And then I'll go to the grocery store and get 2 steaks instead of buying in bulk because like the Costco meat, the flavor's not there for me.
Yeah, I wish that hopefully it'll come back though because the price is better.
It is nicer to buy in bulk like that.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Because steak feels, a little extravagant at times.
Yeah, well, we have cut back. I was going to say we need to cut back, but we have cut back. We maybe have steak twice a month now, if that.
Yeah, or more.
But we were, especially over like the summer and stuff, we were having it like once a week.
Well, it's like for a while, like you were grilling all the time.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, now we're much more, the indoor.
Now we're in the cold, dark home.
Seriously. So dark,
the long,
and cold
dark,
out.
Eternal darkness of Seattle for the next 3 months. But it's going to be a short episode today, guys, because we're exhausted and it's nighttime and we have things we want to talk about. We can't talk about them yet, kind of thing. So instead of accidentally saying what we can't talk about, I think we're just going to cut it short.
Yeah, probably.
And we got to feed Ruby and take her for a walk, and because it's nighttime,
got to feed the hog. Got those bills to pay.
Woo! But yeah, thank you guys so much for listening. Hope you guys had a great Thanksgiving. Hope you made it through. Hope you didn't punch any family members in the face.
Seriously, and good luck making it through the month of December. We're all gonna make it. We gotta just push through.
We're all here for each other. That's why I'm opening Advent calendars and just trying to have a happy good time on TikTok. So if you enjoy Advent calendars, come on over. I'm opening them every day on TikTok. And but yeah. Having said all that, thanks for watching, listening, subscribing, liking, sharing, telling your friends. Keep coming back. It works if you work it. We love you guys. We'll see you on the next one. All right. Bye.
Bye.